Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And we are happy to be here with you. My name is Sakina Gordon Jones, and with me is Serena Williams. We're here to talk to you a little bit about coaching, coaching development, not just for the sake of talking about coaching, but because we know that many of you have felt a call to coaching and have been wondering how to move forward and where do you get started. And there's a sea of coaches out there. There's a sea of coaching program. Hopefully today we can help you get a little clearer on your call for this, as well as to know a little bit more about what you might want to look for and a little bit more about our program as well. So that's our goal today. We are Transformation Edge Business Coach Institute, and we have been providing coach training, coach mentoring, um, coach supervision for a number of years. Actually, since 2003, we've been providing this training. We've done it in various ways, various formats, whether we've associated ourselves with universities and brought the program. Since COVID, we've been bringing the program virtually. We've then moved into hybrid formats. And in 2025, we are going back to in person as well. So we will talk with you more about that. But first, I want to have my co-host today, Serena, just introduce herself a little bit, and then we'll talk to you more about coaching.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sakina. Hello, everyone. Again, as Sakina has said, my name is Serena Williams. I am a facilitator in this wonderful program, but I also am a graduate of this wonderful program. So my involvement is as someone who knows what it's like to go through the program and someone who knows what it's like to support people who are going through this program. I believe this program is top notch and stellar, not because I work for Transformation Edge, but because of the experience that I had in the program, as well as the transformation that the program has had on me, which was unexpected. So, as we get into what is this program, what makes this program unique, what are coaching skills? I think sometimes we say that and make an assumption that people know what they are, and the impact that our coaches have on others. We want to share that with you. We want to answer questions that people have, and we want to really show you today a little bit of the environment that we have there. We have this environment that you're going to see just with Sakina and myself. Might even convince her to do a 2 minute coaching session or something just so you can see what it's like to explore, to experience this, to develop new skills and sharpen the skills that we currently have. So, welcome to you.
Awesome. As you were talking, Serena, it made me think to sort of go slow here in the beginning of our time today to just make sure that we're all on the same page. Many years ago, I learned this from Roger Schwartz, go slow to go fast. And so we're going to take our time here and hopefully address some things that are on your mind. And in the end, we will also go slow to answer any questions that you may have or frequently asked questions that we've received. The word transformation came up quite a bit as Serena was talking, and I said this is the Transformation Edge Business Coach Institute. So I think I want to just park there for a second because we hear a lot of words and we know words mean different things to different people at different times. Something else I learned from Roger Schwartz is agree on what important words mean. So for our time and for when you're talking with us, when we say transformation, we are talking about the art and the science of shifting how you see things so that you can be different. And that is not easy. It's easier to say, but not easy to do. But we do believe that transformation begins in the mind. So you can't become something that you haven't thought about. You can't move towards a vision that you haven't first seen. And so transformation is a process, and that process is starts internally and then is revealed externally. We all know the story of the butterfly. You know, the butterfly just doesn't become a butterfly. It actually goes through a transformative process. It becomes one thing, which looks like nothing but glue, a glob, I should say, right? Glob on a leaf that transforms because it realizes I'm more than glob, and it actually grows legs and begins to walk and eat and grow and eat and grow. And it realizes I'm more than that. I'm more than just eating. I need to give something. And so it goes into a period of time where it surrounds itself in an environment that can help it to develop from all of that growth that it's had. And so during that time that it is developing and becoming stronger to become all that it could be, it transforms again and becomes ultimately what it was created for, which we all know and love to see is that butterfly. Well, that's one example of what's possible for us. Sometimes we come out of the womb and look like a glob. You know, people won't say it. They always say, "Oh, your baby's beautiful," but sometimes it looks like a glob. But our parents and those that are caring for us know we're more than that, right? We're more than that glob, if you will, that just came out of the womb and may be bloody. And so what do? They feed us and they nurture us and we grow and we develop the ability to use the legs and the hands and the mouth, and we continue to transform. Sometimes because we live in a society that is a society that likes to repress and oppress as opposed to lifting and launching. So sometimes we don't develop into our full potential. We develop up to where others may want us. And many times we feel stuck. We feel stuck within our own bodies, within our own minds, because of the conditioning of the environment that we're in. And so we often need an environment, just like that moth creates that environment that it can really develop in. We need an environment created for us that allows us to develop into our full potential so we can launch. And that, for me, is the transformation process that we try to provide for our clients. And then we also provide that for our students, those that are feeling the call to coaching, because you need an environment that's supportive, that allows you to develop into all that you can be, your full potential. So Transformation Edge Business Coaching Institute provides multiple programs. The main one that Serena and I are going to talk to you about today is the Business and Professional Program, which is a full body program that helps you because we create the space, as Serena was saying earlier, for us, a safe space for you to grow and become your fullest self, and allowing yourself to experience the transformation also gives you the edge to be able to create that space for others to do the same. So I just wanted to pause there and let's make sure we all agree on this transformation. It's not just a buzzword for us, it's the whole enchilada.
Absolutely. As you were talking about what are the key words we need to define, the other huge word that came up for me was coaching.
Mhm.
Because as we know, there are many coaches, and I think one of the things that we do in our safe space is acknowledge all the ways that people can show up, acknowledge that even in the world of coaching, it's not a right or wrong
Yep.
in that sense, but we are really focusing on non-directive coaches, coaching as defined by ICF for ICF accreditation standards and their competencies, as
Mhm.
opposed to perhaps how the world might define coaching. And for
Mhm.
me, that's important because I think as a human, the first coach we meet is usually a sports coach.
Mhm.
And that coach is telling. They're telling us what to do. They're telling us how we're not doing it right. They're telling us how to improve. They are telling us how to just make adjustments to get the most out of ourselves. And we need that in our lives. We need coaching for sports and coaching for, you know, a lawyer. I need somebody to tell me how to be a lawyer. We need our doctor to be told how to do a surgery. However, that's not the type of coaching we do. We do a coaching that I'm going to say for me is of being. And we are not telling people how to be because we don't know how to be them.
Mm.
We are truly creating an environment where people are able to be reflected. There's a mirror,
Yeah.
and we are creating space for people to think. I think that's something we don't naturally have in the world is space to think. When you ask somebody like, were you able to just sit and think with it? Most people are like, no, I had 50 things coming at me and I had to make a decision. And a space for people to do what you just talked about when you said transformation. We often become what the world standard has set, but not really process.
Yeah.
Can I do more than this? Would I like to do more? Was I created to do more than this?
Right.
All of the things that we provide space for of questions that may not and usually don't come up on a routine basis. So also thinking about our definition when we're saying coaching, what does that look like and lifting up those particular competencies. And as people join, you're welcome to interrupt us to ask a question, put a question in the chat, or even let us know what you're hoping to learn in our conversation today.
Yeah, absolutely. Serena, I want to do what one of our other facilitators, Tiffany, does quite often, which is I want to amplify what you just said. I want to park a little bit on that word coaching because you're absolutely right. We experience coaching in our lifetime in different ways. And to your point, the earlier way is usually someone who knows more than us about what we're trying to do, and they want to help us to do what we're wanting to do better. So the thing that I would say there is that probably all coaching is about helping others. And so anyone who even says, I want to be a coach is a special person because I think what they're saying is, I want to help others. And we need that. I love the fact that that happens. I love the fact that people have a heart to help others because that's how we will flourish as humankind. And to your point, there are differences in coaching. So some are what I would say is the coach is the expert. In other words, they've done it before, like if I'm going to go back into running track, I would love to get, an Olympiad to be my coach because they've experienced things that I haven't and they've had to come through obstacles probably that I'm going to go through. And so their guidance could be very, very useful. So that kind of coaching is still a powerful form of helping. The branch of coaching that we are participating in that really creates transformation. And let me go back and say that I think that what that kind of coaching provides is more of a transactional approach to helping us get better incrementally and over time. And I think what we talk about is the kind of coaching that actually is quite transformative because it's client centered. In other words, the person being coached is the expert, not the person doing the coaching. And it's a shift in how we think about it because client centered coaching, or to use your term, non-directive, is one of those types of things where the individual doing the coaching has to be egoless, like they can't be all about themselves. They have to be in it for the other person or persons. And so what they're saying is, I believe in you and I'm here to support you in getting to where you want to get to. Together we can do this, but I'm going to lean into you. And so the reason that client-centered coaching often seems like an inquiry-based approach is because we're literally leaning into that person and drawing out from them. And you can't do that if you don't, first of all, believe that it's in them to begin with. So that is a major shift because oftentimes what we're doing is helping people to see themselves in ways that they haven't before, hear themselves in ways that they haven't before, do the things that maybe they haven't before so that they can actually become everything that they knew deep inside they could be. If all things were removed that were hindrances, this is the potential you could live up to as a leader, as a writer, as a mom, as a whatever they want to accomplish. And that's the power of non directive or client centered coaching. And it is quite transformational. Serena, you're beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. I wanted to one of the people with us said they're hoping to get just all the tools that they can that would help support their business and cooperation in any way. And one of the things I wanted to know is if we could pull back the curtain a little bit on our program, and with when we talk about what are the coaching skills in that particular way. My favorite is day one listening, right? Because I haven't met one person who enters this program, including myself. So talk about myself,
Mhm, mhm.
that doesn't jump in the program and say, I'm a great listener.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then we learn, well, maybe I'm not, and maybe I didn't know how to
yeah,
be a listener. So, would you just take a moment and maybe give a glimpse of why we even just start with listening, and maybe just one example
yeah,
of how we may think we're listening and we're really not,
yeah,
or the level of listening? I know we
yeah.
we won't go as deep, but what's really happening.
No, I totally appreciate that because I think the skill sets of client-centered coaches, the emphasis on the skills or the competencies are quite different. Typically, we hear a lot today. I know you do. I know I do. Folks that want to help others and they develop programs to help them. And in those programs, they come up with worksheets and tools because they're going to tell them things that they can do and they're going to show them ways that they can do it, which again means that they are the expert, right? So it's not client-centered coaching. It's not non-directive coaching. If that's what you're offering, doesn't mean you're not helping, but it's different. Client-centered coaching or non-directive coaching, what we're talking about is a person that comes alongside and they have developed a set of skills and competencies that allow them to be with a person and help that person to see themselves. So the tool sets for that are much different. In a word, they are um, intrinsic tools. They're the kind of tools that you can come up with, as opposed to tools that you need to build and buy and sell. So the skill sets are also different because to your point, you cannot coach someone in the non-directive way if you cannot hear them. You not only have to hear them, you have to help them hear them. So the idea of knowing that I'm able to listen to that person in such a way that I help them hear themselves is the key to transformation. So listen, transformation is, we said in the beginning that it starts with the mind. So there's a whole process that our mind works at to get to insights. And the first thing that our mind has to do is come to attention because we have billions of data floating by us every single day. And our mind is sifting through all of that data and trying to determine what goes into memory, what needs to be used, what needs to be trashed. Our mind is constantly at work. In order to grow and to get to the goals that we have in our lives, we have to actually bring our mind to attention. And one of the best ways to bring your mind to attention is to listen.
Hmm.
Listen to yourself, listen to others. It slows
Absolutely.
down every conversation the minute you actually start to listen, because most of our conversations go like this. Hey, Serena, how was your weekend?
It was good. Uh,
Yeah, what was good about it?
I got to spend some time with family and friends. It was wonderful.
Oh man, I love spending time with family and friends too. We did the same thing. We went out to dinner. Where did you go to dinner?
We went to the Chinese restaurant.
Oh gosh, I used to like a lot of Chinese food, but sometimes, right? That's how most of our conversations go. They are fast and we're not really listening to each other. You say something, it sends me into another direction. I say something, you go into another direction. That's our conversations.
Yes,
So mine is just constantly going. And if you're coming to me for help and you say, um, I want to have some family come in and visiting me, and I want to take them to a really nice place to eat, where would you suggest that I go?
right,
Oh, it's fine.
right. I'd go into problem solving mode. So I would start saying, you should try this restaurant, that restaurant, you know, probably not ask you a single question, but begin to just throw some restaurants at you to
Right.
solve the problem.
And that's how most of us get help. If we go to our one up or our peer and we said, hey, I'm running into this issue, they were like, let me show you. Somebody says, hey, I'm having trouble with my phone. And they immediately like, let me have your phone. And they want to fix whatever the problem is. That's the world we live in. And we can't grow that way. And we certainly don't feel a sense of peace and gratification in moving towards our goals that way.
Hmm.
So listening is really important because that looks like this. Hey, Serena, how was your weekend?
My weekend was wonderful. I spent some time with family and friends.
Wow. When I hear you say that it was wonderful and family and friends, it makes me think this is probably a core value or something of yours, right? What's
Absolutely.
important about spending time with your family?
Yeah, I think especially after COVID, being able to be with who I want to be with, who I enjoy spending time with, people who are precious to me, uh, really matters. So being able to do that this weekend just filled my heart with joy.
Mm, wow. So it sounds to me like your point of view is life is short and who you're with matters. And you want to be with those that you love when you can, because you can't always do that, right? Some things are out of your control, like COVID, right?
Absolutely.
Am I hearing you well?
Absolutely. COVID, distance, people were in town from Alabama, Tennessee, Florida. So it was just very special to have everybody gather in one space, which I can say happens not even once a year.
Yeah. Wow. So that made it not just wonderful, but a really special weekend for you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll pause there. Serena, versus the first time that I was talking to you and listening versus this time, when did you feel like you were heard?
The second time, I feel like on the first time when we as people are in automation, we are not only, as Pamela has said, listening to respond, but listening to relate and being triggered inside of us of what is that person saying that I have something to say about that too, as opposed to listening to reflect, listening to be curious, listening to just be with that person as they are answering any question that I have asked them.
Yeah, beautiful. And so I think that's just one example, right, of
Mhm.
one of the competencies and how it's nuanced, right? You're still listening to the other, but you're listening for different reasons. And so when we're listening as a coach, in this respect, we really are listening to hear and to help the other person hear. That actually will trigger for them thoughts that help them to direct their paths forward. Because if I continue this conversation with you, you might say to me, you realize that there's a certain point in time where you want to be with family more often than once a year. And you might be making some plans about how you can do that because you're recognizing the importance of that for you. We won't get there if we're just listening to respond. And so helping our clients achieve meaningful goals is what's at the center of client-centered coaching. And we can't determine those goals for them or the path to them. So we come alongside and help them to see and hear and do so that they can accomplish those meaningful goals. So that listening skill that we just talked about is not possible if you're not also doing presence,
Right.
right? In other words, removing not only external distractions, but the internal ones, like how we think and how our own thinking gets in the way. So, our program focuses on not only helping to develop the coach with these competencies, but to help them to see themselves,
Hmm.
right? I find it really amazing that once you have been coached, once you've gone through the coaching process yourself, it becomes so much more fulfilling to help others through a process of coaching. So we actually provide the people that come into our programs with a coach so that they literally experience the coaching. And we do a whole lot more than that. And I think it's part of what sets our program apart is you will certainly learn all of the coaching skills. You will certainly leave with a bag full of tools. Okay.
Absolutely.
But more than that, you will leave feeling the sense that you were developed and potentially you were transformed because we focus on personal development as well as professional development and even business development so that your practice is something that you feel confident to start doing. In fact, we have you start your coaching practice, whether you're coaching inside your organization or on your own, we help you to start that while you're in the program. So when you come through the 10 months of that program, you're confident and you're competent as a
Hmm.
coach. And you've experienced something that will live for you, right? Beyond the degree or the certificate that's on the wall. And you mentioned earlier, Serena, that this is a ICF program. It's accredited by ICF. ICF is the largest accrediting organizations of professional coaches around the globe, actually around the globe. And so your credential stands no matter where in the world you might work or serve. And that's really important. And there's a set of competencies that all of those coaches share. And so, in a way, what we have is a standard of coaching that is expected. So, if I go to work at Mars Company and you go to work at, oh gosh, give me another company, IBM, or in the fashion industry, you go to work at Revlon, let's say. If you're a coach and you are credentialed by ICF because you've gone through this kind of training, they know they can almost say anytime I have a coach with those credentials, they will be able to serve our employees, our staff in the same way,
Hmm.
right? They will come against the ego that some coaches bring and the telling, and they will leave that at the door and serve our clients or our coachees or our employees in the same way.
Absolutely. So we have about 15 minutes left, and you said something there in this last part of the way we are in the world. And one of the things I know we focus on in our program are the influence of psychology, philosophy, social sciences, theology. We bring in those things. We talk about the neuroscience, but one thing that just really came up for me as you were talking. I'm thinking about this world we're in today. And if you end up watching this as a recording, we are in March of 2025. Is psychological safety and supportive spaces and how much that's needed right now, especially when we think about this program. We are usually coaching business professionals who don't have a lot of spaces where they can go and be themselves, where they can go and share their thoughts or feelings on something, anything truly. And the time and space for that now, and your thoughts on, for me, my statement would be coaches are needed now more than ever before because we are in a world of uncertainty, regardless of opinion on it, regardless of stance on it. Um, we are in a time of uncertainty, and what we know about humans and the brain
Yeah.
is that the brain does not like uncertainty. It just is not built for automation of uncertainty. So when you think about people being called, being led, being pulled, being attracted to being a coach, whatever word they might want to use in this day and age, what's coming up for you? Because I know you're in the middle of a coaching program right now, and I know we'll tell the details of the spring cohort coming up, but what's coming up for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's such a challenging time, right? And I want to see if I can speak to this quickly to manage our time. You said something when you started, that we rest on the field of science, our coaching. And you mentioned psychology, sociology, I would say anthropology, as well as theology. In fact, I would even start with maybe the theology, because in the beginning of this session, we said transformation begins with the mind. Well, literally, there's a scripture that says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind,
Mhm.
which again tells us that ancient wisdom tells us that transformation begins in the mind, right? If we can't renew our mind, we can't become something we can't see or think. So how we think, I think there's another scripture that says, as a man thinks, so is he.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
how we think is important. And so to your point, the brain-based coaching, which is what we also train our students on, says that we have to help a person think about how they are thinking, right? And when we look at the times that we're in, the thing that's threatened the most is our thinking. In
Mhm.
fact, when we get overwhelmed with all of the things that are happening, we tend to shut down our thinking. Not consciously, though, Serena.
Right.
It's happening subconsciously
Hmm.
because our brain does that when it feels threatened. And when we feel all of these forces coming against us, the very way of living, our very identities, when we feel that state of threat, our brain shuts down the
Hmm.
cognitive function. So we can't think, much less think about our thinking.
Hmm.
And we are in fight or flight mode or freeze.
Right.
And so, yes, you're right. If there's ever been a time for coaching, a time to come alongside someone and help them to think, it's now. And I have found, whether they're in healthcare, whether they're in the government, in the military, in finance, in academia, all of our leaders right now are struggling because they are facing threat, and it's coming fast. In fact, it's a VUCA world, right? The velocity at which the change is happening, the level of uncertainty, the complexity of all of those things, and the sheer ambiguity of where are we in the world? What is really happening? Like all of that, that's VUCA, VUCA.
Hmm.
And that's what everybody's facing. And leaders are getting this head on because they're responsible for others. And so they're trying to figure out, how do I do something that I may not even agree with? And they're also concerned with, what is this going to mean for the people that work with me? And so it is very, very challenging. And they benefit from us being able to come alongside and create, as you just said, a space, whether it's for 20 minutes or 60 minutes. That space is invaluable to
Mhm.
help them to pause and think so that they can respond versus react.
Yeah. Sakina, as you were talking about that being a VUCA space, I remember we were in the program together when COVID came, right? This feels very much like that time of uncertainty, meaning while the world may not be in our United States culture, our culture is affecting the world, much like COVID was affecting the world. And I remember the space that people needed then. And that sometimes you don't even know you need it because you don't know it exists. And because we live in this fast paced world, this world of needing to be right versus needing to think. And as you were talking about those scriptures, I was thinking about the one that said, you take your thoughts captive to make them obey. And just thinking about or letting people know that there are people in this world who do have this gift of creating a space for people to maybe do what they don't even think they need to do, which is pause.
Mhm.
Pause in the midst of this whirlwind and reevaluate all the things, whatever's coming up for that person, who you are, how you want to operate in this, where your core values fall, um, what you have control over and what you don't. We're often, taking it all in, but not thinking about what we can do.
Mhm.
And that just rang for me because I remember as we entered COVID, especially for me, it was March 10th, those next 2 or 3 months holding that space for people to just be
Yeah.
and be able to come and just say, I don't even know what's going on right now, but I'm not
Yeah.
okay. And that coaching is also that space. It is a space of sometimes we've reached our highest peak and we think we can go higher, or we're transitioning, or we're looking to do something different. But it's also that space of I'm not okay. And I'm not coming in this space for my coach to be an answer for me, but to hold space for me.
That's so powerful what you just said. Holding space. It it sounds like, one of those, like, you know, woo-woo terms, like, what does that mean? But we know it, like we need it. Our brain tells us that, our soul tells us that we need a space to be free, to be and to think. And
Mhm.
that's what holding space is all about, is creating that for folks. So yeah, you're absolutely right on all fronts. And I'm looking at the time. I know that we're almost out. Should we go ahead and just talk a little bit about what's upcoming, how people can get involved? I did put in the chat a link to the current brochure that would provide dates as well as detailed information about the program. What would you
Absolutely.
want to
I
add,
can pop
Ella?
it up on the screen as you talk about it. That way, if people are watching and have a visual, even on the recording, they can see it,
Okay.
and then they also can go to the link. But if you want to talk us through while I share of what's going
Okay.
on and where we are right now.
Okay. And if people are interested, besides the brochure, I want to go ahead and put out the link to the interest form
Absolutely.
you can sign up on. And if you sign up on that, we can provide you with information on, well, we actually have an information session, recorded session that folks might benefit from. And we will be able to provide that information to you if you let us know. And maybe also, Serena, you can drop in the chat the website where people can fill out a contact form if they're interested, and we can reach out to them that way as well. So to the Business Coach Institute page of the website.
Absolutely.
So I will try to do this really quickly. We're excited actually because this year, typically we run one program a year and then we keep a wait list. This year, we are providing two opportunities for you to participate if you feel called to this program. One will be in person, so we will meet for 10 months. We meet one weekend a month, usually a Friday, Saturday per month, and it will be for 10 months. We believe in space learning, as that's the way adults learn best, is you get a chunk, you get to go out and apply that chunk, and you come back, you get another chunk to add, and you're also learning from your experience in between. So that's the way we set the program up. And so you will be able to join us in the spring program, which starts May 30th for 10 months. If you are that kind of person where in person works best for you and you are very visual and you may be a kinesthetic learner, you like to be in the room touching people and things as you learn, then this is the right program for you in person. And that's why we're bringing it. It will be a small group. None of our groups really, we try to cap them at 20, and we're going to cap the in-person program even smaller so that it can be an intimate and a safe space for people to be together throughout these precarious times that we're in as well. So that's the spring program. The exact same content is used in our fall program, which will begin in October and also go for 10 months, but that will be a hybrid program. So we will start in October in person, but then we will go virtual for 8 months. And then we will come back out in the summer and finish up and graduate in person. So the fall program, hybrid, the spring program starting in May in person. If you are wanting to be a part of this, but you are not close, you are coming from California or New York or Montana or Puerto
Japan.
Rico
Don't forget we had
or
Japan.
Japan or the Caribbean islands and you want to participate, you can. We have had people from all over the globe participate in the program, and that's why we still keep that program. You get an opportunity to plan a trip where we can all gather and celebrate together. And actually, the person that you would have grown so close to out through this cohort, you get a chance to actually be in their presence. But for the most part of the hybrid program, you can join from wherever in the world you are. We would love to have you participate in either program. Reach out to us if you have questions. The link is there for the brochure. The brochure actually has live links in it as well, so you can click it to fill out the interest form, and we will contact you. You will find a way to email us if you want email, and so reach out to us and let us know. Registration is open right now for both programs, and we are already having seats taken. So we would love for you to join us and be a part of the transformational process of coaching.
We look
So
forward to you joining us. If you're watching and not looking at the links, the website is transformationedge.com. Transformationedge.com. You're welcome to send any additional questions you might have, any thoughts you might have, and even both of us are coaches. Not sure about Sakina, who's a master coach. We didn't get to say that she has reached that level. I do want to say congratulations because she said very quickly at the beginning, she's been doing this since 2003, 22 years in business. So we are celebrating that and also appreciating all the knowledge and wisdom that she brings. We have a wonderful team. We are met with experts every Saturday in the program for all many ways of building your business and marketing and making sure we're not crossing lines with mental health and all of the things that you fully need. So we it is our mission to take care of the whole person of the student so we can coach the whole person as a coach. So thank you so much for joining us. And
Serena, can I just
yes,
think what you were just doing was very important, and I'd hate for us to wrap this up without giving them a flavor of what's experienced in the program.
absolutely.
So, do you want to do that? Like, what are the things that they will experience every weekend?
So we get a bit of neuroscience. We get to learn different tools. Things that come to mind are like SCARF and the ladder of inference. We get marketing tips and tools. We are met by a lawyer in thinking about how to start our business and what does that look like and any risk associated with it. We're met with a panel of coaches and mental health specialists, whether psychologists, psychiatrists, or people who are doing both to help us really learn the lines and what's blurred because people do bring their whole selves and we want to be safe in supporting our clients. We are met with people who help us really think about, do we want to go into a particular niche of coaching? Do we want to specialize in something of that nature? Talking to clients, serving clients, forms, and all of those things we can use. We've even had people come in and offer their apps to us that they were building and asking us to try them out. So I think there are the pieces that are planned and there are the great surprises that come with every single cohort. In addition to getting our own coach in when you're in the program, we also do supervision. So ability to be corrected in the moment and after coaching session, and then also mentor coaching to make sure that we are knowledgeable in the competencies and displaying that which readies us for that ICF examination that not only, as you said, gives us the standard in the world, but really heightens us, in my opinion, I'm an entrepreneur, heightens us to be selected by businesses, by organizations, even by the government. There is coaching in the government for those things. And it has evolved over the years where it is a requirement now in those particular professions. And it also raises the salaries and rates that come with that. So there's so much, but I hope I did it justice in those
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I think just to emphasize, we have a staff that comes to us from different places in their experiences, in their background, in their ethnicities, um, so that you are also getting a slice of what you will find when you go out and do this work. And there's a high likelihood that you will meet people who are like you, who look like you, who think like you, and you will meet people who don't. And we'll grow from all of that.
Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much, Sakina, for the conversation and your time today is the most precious thing we have. So I look forward to seeing you later, and I look forward to seeing any of you all who wish to join us either in the May program or the October program for 2025. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.